Let's now get some opinion and insight from Beirut-based political analyst Kamil Wozni. As we've just heard from our reporter in Syria, Beijing has joined Moscow's efforts to mediate talks between Damascus and the opposition. What's China's interest in all of this?
Well, I think that Chinese, as the Russian, they want to respect the work order, and they want to embrace a policy of dialogue for finding a resolution for Syria. We cannot resort to war and violence and instigate a civil war in country if the West decided that they don't like a regime. The odyssey here in this situation, you look at the American who are today siding with Al-Qaeda, the one they invaded the war because of it, but now they're in bed with Al-Qaeda in Syria, actually arming and telling the Arab to continue arming and smuggling weapons and stopping a meaningful dialogue between the Syrian government and the opposition. I think today the point that we have to make a logical policy change. Now the emphasis should be on encouraging dialogue and stop this policy of inciting, because this is going to be counterproductive for Syria and for the world as a whole. The Americans should know better, because they got 9/11 and now they go in and associate themselves with Al-Qaeda again.
Well, President Assad has promised to hold a referendum on the constitution in a week's time. How is that really likely to go? You think anything will change for the Syrian people?
I think that the president of Syria, he's trying to make a real initiative to reform the country. He put the constitution referendum in a very speedy way. Now I think the opposition are not listening, because you got country in the Persian Gulf taking instructions from the American, and they don't want anything but the removal of Bashar al-Assad, and that's why we got the vote at the General Assembly. I think somebody is planning and continue to plan to have civil war in Syria and not to have a peaceful resolution that protect the Syria and protect the region. I think that the policy of Russia and China and some other country, they should continue to embrace the dialogue instead of war. War is a destructive way to solve a problem. Never did solve anything. The Americans should know. In Afghanistan, they still entrapped. In Pakistan, they still entrapped. And now the funny thing that the Americans are helping Al-Qaeda in Syria, and the American admitted that 2 explosions happened in Halab and Damascus that they have the hand of Al-Qaeda.
So with Washington confirming that Al-Qaeda is likely operating in Syria, of course that follows that. Does that mean really that the U.S. and its allies are siding with terrorists on this?
Well, this is not new for the American, because Hillary Clinton said very, very much just a few months ago when she said we funded those terrorist organizations when they fought the Soviet Union. They created them, they funded them, and now they actually reviving these organizations when it serves their interests and they utilize them and use them to destabilize country. And that's a shameful act on the United States and on the West, because they talk about democracy and reform, but on the other hand, when it comes to their interests, they will go to no end to get their way in, even if they have to go in bed with Al-Qaeda, and that's what's really happening right now in Syria.
But what about the fact that some U.S. lawmakers are calling on Washington to arm the Syrian opposition? How hard would it be to do that covertly without really sparking some sort of a scandal?
Well, isn't that what Reagan said when he armed the Mujahideen in Afghanistan at one time, and they turned to be terrorist organization? And the Americans are repeating the situation, the mistake they have done in the past today. And the logic, there is no logic into it, and the world have to stop to this madness, because you have to remember that the American propaganda and the West propaganda sometimes it's superior to other media outlets. But the American will wake up finding that the Middle East is actually filled with these terrorist organizations, and to that end, not these congressmen or senators where they are short-sighted in policy, they will actually rectify the situation in Syria or in the Middle East.
Live from Beirut, that was political analyst Kamil Wozni. Thank you, Kamil.
Thank you.